So glad you are here. So excited. We've got an opening medley. Something sprinkly.
Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Struggle
is a different kind of church here we've got going on up here. Here we are, here you are, yes. Let me situate you a little bit. It's still so new that if you are new here, don't worry. I am too. I mean, we all are. It's okay. I'm Reverend Taryn Strauss, senior minister of this congregation. You have found your way to the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Atlanta, where we have been on some kind of a pilgrimage, or perhaps a long dance through our beloved city. We are residing on land first cultivated, first nourished by the Muskogee Creek indigenous people. We acknowledge the legacies of colonization and forced migration, trauma, even as we celebrate our arrival to this place and call it holy. And we know that the healing cannot begin until the harm is named. So let us be a house of healing. Amen. Amen. This dance began so long ago, back in 1883, under a different name then. And then later on from the United Liberal Church on Boulevard in 1950s, where this congregation welcomed Whitney Young Jr. as a member, making it the first racially integrated church in Atlanta. They danced onward to building a congregation designed and built on Cliff Valley Way in the mid-1960s, before it was eclipsed by the I-85 connector. There it is. They built a sanctuary where the congregation could sit in stadium seating in the round so everywhere you looked, you could see the face of God looking back at you. There, this people danced in a circle, in a mandala. You held a public wedding. You married gay and lesbian couples to celebrate the legal recognition of those partnerships in that place. You did that. And so much more. And then this beautiful community faced itself and entered a new season, a new phase of the dance, we'll call it. We left that beloved home and sold it to the expansion of the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. And we entered our wilderness time still dancing. Still dancing. Call it the body's prayer. Call it a movement choir. Call it the dance with the one that brought you. This precious community faced its vulnerability in a time of pandemic and wilderness, and we have come through. We have come through it. Not perfectly intact, but beautifully imperfect. Amen? Amen. Gloriously resilient. That's us. Now, if you are joining us for the first time, welcome to the dance. We draw the circle ever wider for you. If you come here loving God, calling God God, you are welcome. If you are here questioning God's existence, if you embrace humanity as evidence of love's action in the world, if you are queer, if you are struggling with mental health, if you are just unsure about it all, if you are transgender, if you find truth in myriad sources of the sacred, you are more than welcome here. You are cherished. So welcome home to this faith home. Oh my gosh, we have so many people up here on this chancel today. Our music director, Don Milton III, is back from sabbatical. We've got Willie Sullivan. We are excited to welcome the Ansley Stewart Band. We at this time, we have so many folks speaking and blessing us. State Senator Nan Orrock, the mayor is here, y'all. It's awesome. We also receive a blessing from Reverend Lauren Smith from the Unitarian Universalist Association, who's here on behalf of President Susan Frederick Gray. And at this time, I would love to invite, we have a community minister out there. Reverend Duncan Teague is our community minister. Ooh, you are loved. You are loved here, Reverend Duncan. And on behalf of our community ministers, Reverend Megan Lloyd Joyner and Reverend Duncan Teague, I've invited him to light our chalice this morning as we all say the chalice lighting words of this congregation. I can help you. There it is. You got this. See, we did all kinds of rehearsal for our 11 o'clock service. Here you go.
Okay.
Please say the words with me. May the light of this flame illuminate our tradition of seeking, invite all who yearn for acceptance, and ignite our passion for justice and peace. They're like wanting to clap for the chalice lighting. It's great. Very excited. It's good. We're going to skip ahead a little bit and invite our mayor to offer us a blessing. So Andre Dickens is here. He was elected as the 61st mayor of Atlanta in November 2021. Prior to becoming Atlanta's mayor, he served also as a city council member for 2 terms. He's a champion of so many causes that are central to our values as Unitarian Universalists, such as affordable housing, improving educational opportunities for more young people in Atlanta. We look forward to so many more improvements. We stand for justice and civil rights for all. We are looking forward to the closing of the Atlanta jail. We hope that's on the agenda. We hope may that day come soon. We are just so thrilled to have you here, honored to receive a blessing from you today. So please welcome our mayor, Andre Dickens.
Good afternoon. It's good to see you. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank y'all. Good afternoon. It's good to see you all. And at this second service, so I'm honored to be here for my first time being in this space. It's because it's the first time for all of us being in this space. So I'm not a visitor today. I'm just like all of you. It's our first time here, but it's not my first time being in your congregation's presence ever. And so I did want to just say I'm glad to join you today in this official grand opening ceremony. And I'm down with anybody that sings Mama Say, Mama Sa, Mama Kusa. That's just right at home. That's right on time. And none of us, I don't even know, do you know what it means? It's good to say though, so I'm cool with it if y'all cool with it. But thank you, Reverend Strauss, for all that you've been doing and all that you are doing right now. And thank you for this invitation on this occasion today. I see my friend, Senator Nan Orrock is here, who I know is a member here. That's my friend, supporter, and somebody I look up to. Just good people. That's what Nan is. And so if this is where she gets that good spirit from, then this is all right with me as well, because Nan is good folks, as we say. Since I've been in office, I've had the pleasure of hosting a number of interfaith gatherings, and my pastor, Reverend Sean Smith, is here, and he's joined with me today, and he is a member of my staff now and serves as the city's faith leader liaison, faith community liaison, so give him a round of applause for being here. So this is his second service today. He did our service at church and now here. And so, in fact, clergy and members of the faith community have been a large part of a number of the initiatives that I have for Atlanta. So it is always my honor when I'm able to spend some time in the city's houses of hope, houses of prayer, houses of peace. I do feel a connection with your congregation, as I mentioned. Like you, I am also anti-hate, anti-discrimination, anti-racism, and anti-oppression. I too believe that we must move beyond what divides us and build bridges to bring us all together. And I've always said I draw circles and I don't draw lines. And as I was introduced to the architect who designed this edifice, I immediately said to her, "You drew a circle. This is a circle. The stage is a circle. The building it was in a rectangle, and you tried to round it out because that gives us a sense of inclusion." And she said, "Yep." And I was like, I said, "Yeah, I tried to sound all smart." She's like, "Yeah, I did the hard work though, Mayor." But that is indeed indicative of this spirit of inclusion. And so I'm a mission to move beyond the boundaries and become even more engaged in our communities. Perhaps we will have a chance in the future where we can partner on some of these opportunities and things that you have mentioned, Reverend Strauss, and that your community members definitely want us to see to move Atlanta forward so we can thrive. Thank you just for allowing me to spend some time with you here today. My wish is for your new home here to always be a place where your mind, your soul, and your body will feel nourishment, and where you will be filled with a spirit of life and a connectedness to Atlanta and the greater world community. Thank you all. Take care.
A beloved mentor of mine just said when I first took this ministry with Atlanta, "Go big, Taryn, go big." Well, let's just welcome each other. How about that? This flame here also represents the light of hope and the light of friendship, warmth, and community that we find, that we create, that we make here all together. So why don't you take a moment and welcome somebody next to you into this space.
Hold on to me as you go. As we roll down this unfamiliar road, although the waves are stringing us along, just know you're not alone. I'm gonna make this place your home. Settle down, it'll all be clear. Don't pay no mind to the demons, they fill you with fear. Troubles, they might drag you down. If you get lost, you can always be found. Just know you're not alone. We're gonna make this place your home. That's gonna be your part. Know you're not alone. We're gonna make this place your home.
Today. Thank you. That was beautiful. What a team. Also, I just had to speak about the team for a minute. I mean, I think that we made this change for the mayor speaking very recently to before the anthem, and we changed that very recently. It's in the program. So Shay Stewart, amazing. Bryce Thomason, thank you. This incredible audiovisual team that is just so trustworthy and supportive and holds this community. And I want to speak about the amazing colleagues who are in our midst today, clergy colleagues who are here supporting this congregation. We here in North Georgia have some incredible clergy who really know how to show up and support each other, who are amazing at praying for each other and deep listening and building relationships. There is just no way to minister alone ever, and the great news is that none of us have to. So I am so grateful that you are here supporting this moment. And we have more blessings upon us. So Susan Frederick Gray was invited to come and offer a blessing and preach this morning, but sadly has come down with an illness, and it is that illness, unfortunately. And so we just wish Susan the very best. If you are out there, we wish you well and hope you recover soon, and are so grateful to have had Lauren Smith with us. Reverend Lauren Smith is the director of Stewardship and Giving at the UUA, and is just an incredible minister in her own right from New Hampshire, and is also the mother of 3 fine children, and partner to a minister in that area, and just so grateful to have you. It's just been lovely to spend some good time with Reverend Lauren Smith.
So, good afternoon. Greetings again, UU Congregation of Atlanta. And I'm a 5th generation Unitarian Universalist. And what makes Unitarian Universalism come alive is life in Unitarian Universalism. And so your presence will bless our faith for generations to come. So it's good to be with you. So I am Lauren Smith, Director of Stewardship and Development at the Unitarian Universalist Association, and I am here on behalf of everyone at the UUA and our over 1,000 congregations across our association in partnership with you, congratulating you on this exciting day as we bless your new building. And I'm also here on behalf of the Reverend Dr. Susan Frederick Gray, our fearless, bold, loving UUA president, who is here with us in spirit and possibly online. So I want to acknowledge all of the leadership, commitment, and generosity that made this day possible. I want to lift up the Reverend Taryn Strauss, all your staff, all your lay leaders, everyone who has been part of making this day possible. It's a wide, wide, wide bench of folks, it seems to me. It's a gift to be together and to celebrate what this community has accomplished. I'm grateful to all of you for your ministry and the way you live Unitarian Universalism. This has been an incredibly challenging time, and with so much hardship, heartbreak, and pain in our world, we're being called to live our UU values more deeply and more boldly. Our congregations matter. Your health and your vitality, your aliveness is absolutely essential. The values we share as Unitarian Universalists, our commitments to justice, equity, and radical inclusion are a source and a beacon of solace, inspiration, and joy, both for all of us here today and for the entire Atlanta community, sort of spreading and emanating out. I'm excited for the ways that this space, all of it, this campus, opens up new possibilities and opportunities to live your mission. And I encourage you to be bold. And this is one of those places where I'd really like to invoke Susan, who is a bold soul. I know that she's with me in encouraging you to be bold as you live into and imagine all the ways this space can be a blessing to you and the wider community, providing space for justice making, refuge for the oppressed, and a source of love and joy. Be bold because Susan has said throughout her time as UUA president, this is no time for a casual faith. And this is no time to go it alone. The problems we face in this world are too big and the stakes are too high. We're being called to lean more deeply into relationship with one another, with our community partners, and with our fellow Unitarian Universalists near and far. By working together, we bring our collective power to bear to make the changes the world so desperately needs. There are so many exciting things happening in Georgia and beyond, so find your partners in this work. I know you already have. Keep doing it. Connect with other UU congregations and stay connected to our Unitarian Universalist Association. We are more together than we are apart. It really is and has been such a joy to be with you here today, to celebrate all that you have accomplished and to prepare for the next exciting chapter of this congregation. As your mission charges you, may this new space enable you to better transform lives through creative action and soulful connection. Congratulations, and many blessings on this next phase of your ministry.
Thank you so much, Reverend Lauren, for blessing us, for blessing the boldness of this community, indeed. So according to, I think it's one of your website, in 1987 is when you became a state representative. Is that really true? Amazing. Okay. Nan Orrock is a state senator in Georgia. She first was represented in the state House of Representatives in 1987. She was sworn in, and then became state senator of the 36th district in 2007, and has done incredible work. She lives like a UU out there in the Gold Dome. And I can tell you this with certainty because I have seen it with my own eyes. So one thing I would love to just share about Nan, who's been a long member of this congregation, is the way she lives like a UU in that Capitol building. So Nan has just known some of these folks for many, many decades. And though they vote very differently and disagree mightily on the matters that are of deepest importance to them, you would not know it from the way they talk and greet each other and the way that they are in relationship. It is beautiful to see it. Nan, I'm deeply inspired by these long relationships you have. I think it would be a moral challenge, a spiritual challenge for many of us, myself included. And these are your colleagues. These are people you have served the state that you all love together for so long. So it really does feel like you are out there living like a Unitarian Universalist in ways that just make me feel so proud to serve you as your minister. So I'm just really excited to have her here. Senator Nan Orrock is going to bless us.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
What a grand and glorious gathering it is. And I'm so humbled and pleased to be a part of this grand opening today and have the opportunity to share a few thoughts with you. And isn't it incredible to be face to face? I've loved the Zoom. It's a 25-mile round trip from my house to the UUCA. So I have relished the Zoom, needless to say, and I think many of us would say that that's the case. But nothing beats this. And here we are, and we're here through the incredible, unending leadership and commitment throughout this congregation and helming our congregation to be here in this place today. It just feels like the future is reaching out a bright road ahead for what we're going to do together in this world as the UUCA. So I couldn't be happier to be here. And I'll share, thank you so much, Reverend Taryn, for those kind words and for your introduction. And it is true that I was elected in 1987 to the House. I served 10 terms in the House, and I'm now in my 7th term in the Senate. And I ain't no ways tired. My feeling always has been, well, when you seize the high ground, when you reach a new place, you stand and you fight there and work to move things forward. So you don't retreat from the battlefield. And the good news is that there are terrifically talented and committed people that have joined us in the legislature and that are running on the ticket for this fall. I mean, really, I could talk about them all day. Just incredible people, incredible talent that are going to change the face of Georgia, and they're already changing the face of the legislature. Amen. That's right. My history with the UUCA goes back beyond 1987. Reverend Taryn asked me to, share a little bit of that history, how I came to be here. And it was 1983, if memory serves me, that I stepped into the ranks here at UUCA. And it was my brother and his wife, Jody and Linda Grogan, who said, "Oh, Nan, we have found this great church." And they just said, "You're going to love it. You got to come out here. You're going to love it." And I was skeptical, and they were right. I fell in love with it and with wonderful people. And I knew that my little boys needed a place to be that inculcated them with the same values that we were seeking to give them in our home. And that was a strong, strong pull to participate and join in as a member and be here and bring my children. And that was absolutely the case, that they got invaluable support and guidance and perspective and outlook by being a part of this church as very, very young people. I believe they were 2 and 6 when I joined. And I must say that there were a lot of great people that beat me to it. And when I went down to the Capitol, who did I meet but Mary Beasley? And she was down there staffing. She could preach a whole sermon about what she's done down there at the Capitol. She was down there staffing, certainly Joe Frank Harris, maybe somebody before that, but she had a long, long history when I got there. She was already a part of the institution. But she was also a Unitarian Universalist and a member right out here at UUCA, along with Herschel, her son, who, I don't know how many years you showed people to their seats and ushered Herschel. It was a long time. And us older heads remember that. But I said immediately, I said, I have to talk about Mary Beasley, because she was a link. And you had been, I believe, a Euro Universalist. When the Universalists and the Unitarians came together, that brought Mary into the ranks of the born into it. There you go. And I didn't dream that you'd be here today, and it's so wonderful when I came in and saw you on the front row. But there was a bridge immediately. Lorenzo Benz was a member here and was in the House of Representatives. Taught ballroom dancing, among other things, but and he beat me down to the legislature and again stood up and reflected our values. But 39 years of membership at UUCA. Next year will be my 40th year, and it's been a pillar and a foundation. When I got to the Capitol, I realized, and I was an outside person. I'd never even been in the Capitol before I went down there and qualified. I was agitator. I was in the streets. I was part of the grassroots movement and got recruited by people who knew more than me that this would be a good fit. And I was persuaded to do it. But when I got there, so I didn't have it all figured out when I got there, is my point. But when I did get there, I soon understood that if you came there without a moral compass, you were going to be swept away and be unrecognizable from who you were when you came in there. I realized that, and I knew how important it was to hold on to my values and my beliefs that gratefully had been inculcated in me by working in the civil rights movement, a world outlook, a reformed, little Southern white girl who saw the world differently, thanks to the civil rights movement and John Lewis and Julian Bond and SNCC that I joined in with. But But I saw so many people swept away into pathways that they should have known better. But somehow the ambition and the greed and the pleasing others there, they offered me a chance. They said, if Nan gets on our team, you'll be all right with us, girl. And that was told to me by the chair of my caucus, right in front of the speaker. But I pursued an independent path, and am still there today doing that, with many, many, many more joining my ranks. But I will say it gave me great pride to put Unitarian Universalist. They ask you for the picture book, you submit your religion along with everything else. And there it was, me and Lorenzo Benz in the little picture book. And I must say, Edward Frost came down there and took the role of chaplain of the day and made me proud. And then we were blessed with Reverend Taryn Strauss coming down to be chaplain of the day. And I know that we shared her remarks, but she took as her text wisdom, justice, and moderation. It's on the state seal. Quiet as it's kept. But it was a great framing for a message to the state's leadership. I'm sorry to say that sadly it's often honored more in the breach than in the implementation of it, but people hung on her word, her every word in the Senate, and the president pro tem of the Senate dogged me for weeks afterward to get her remarks from her in writing that he wanted to capture, and the line was long when Reverend Taryn came down from the podium. Everybody in that chamber came to greet you and to thank you for your unifying message and your wisdom. That was a day that really, I just can't describe how happy and pleased I was. I will say that here we are today on the forward foot, stepping forward into the next part of history for UUCA. It's a congregation that we can all be proud to be a part of, and proud to continue the legacy and to broaden and add more depth to our work for justice and peace. And we see that unfolding, I think, year by year and day by day in the path that we have taken, and under the leadership of Reverend Taryn, and this incredible, I could praise all the same people you praised. When I saw Bryce when I came in, I said, I'm so glad to tell you in person how great you are. Just one example of this incredibly great people here. Our music program, our wonderful choir, but we're stepping off and marching when it's time to march. The activism of the church, the commitment to be change makers and to take our values and put them into action, critically important. And as we've heard from Reverend Smith, invoking us to boldness. We were here for a time such as this. Our worldview, our outlook, our commitment to building bridges, to lifting up those who are left out, and to being a voice for justice and peace, there couldn't be a more important time to be doing this and to be boldly stepping up to the next piece of history that UUCA is going to make. Isn't it interesting that we're one of the largest congregations? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we're one of the largest congregations. And that's been the case for quite a long time. Here in Atlanta, down south, below the Mason-Dixon line. Y'all, I mean, I was just up in New England, and they got Unitarian churches all over the place, but we're really, really down here focused and intentional on building the beloved community. And that is our task at hand, and we continue a long legacy of this church being a breaker of barriers and an open door and a welcoming congregation. I'm so humbled and pleased to be a part of today and to be a part of the life of this incredible congregation and the faith of Unitarian Universalism. Thank you so much for having me say a few words. Keep up the work.
you, Nan. Thank you.
You're the best.
There's going to be a little more talking and then some more music. And a bunch of people are going to come onto the stage, I hope. Because we've got some thanking to do and some recognizing of the blood, sweat, and tears. And before we recognize them, there are a few people who I also saw out there that I just want to recognize. I noticed our lead project manager from Choate Construction was here or possibly is still here, Phil Lara. Oh, he was? Okay. Anyway, he's an awesome guy. And then also, I think Fiona Grandowski, our lead architect, is in the house. It helps to work with people you would just want to spend time with anyway. You all just have such a fascinating, cool team of people, just really great folks to work with. And they got us. They get us. These folded hands, you feel the sheltering hands of the ceiling around you, and the energy flow of this space is just lovely. So I want to honor some of the leaders of our capital campaign and invite them to rise just where you are. Ellen Beatty, and we'll hold our applause till the end. Ellen Beatty, co-chair of our capital campaign. Yay. Okay, I just said hold applause, and then I yayed. John Guyton, co-chair. Where's John? Okay, beautiful. Sean Golan. Maureen McAndrews. There she is. Dave Shoquist. Yeah, lights up. Where's Dave? Jennifer Thilo. Bryce Thomason. Sonia Tinsley Hook. Barbara Begner. George Macon. Kay Johnson. Letta Wu. So let us all give these people an amazing round of applause. We have a gift for you. If you'll come to my office after the service is over, we have a special gift for you. These people made a way out of no way. When some thought it couldn't be done, guess what? They did it. They made it happen. Generosity upon generosity upon generosity flowed forth. There is somebody I do kind of want to invite to the stage, though, who helped us and supported us and shepherded this whole process. You don't always think you're going to just love a capital campaign consultant as much as we loved ours. But I don't know if it was what kind of divine intervention brought us Glenn Wagner from Clote Consulting. Where are you? You got to come up here. Okay, he's going to come up here. So Glenn really believed in us, and it's important sometimes to have outside experts say they believe in you, and then maybe you can start to believe it yourself. And he also just came in with an ease. We're going to do this. This is going to happen. We're going to just take it one step at a time. And here are the steps. And the best thing about what Glenn brought to us is that this is wisdom we can use year after year after year. And it has really shifted the way we even think about generosity in our faith. And so some congregants made it possible for Glenn to be here. We said, you're going to be here on our opening Sunday. And he's serving now a Unitarian congregation in Milwaukee, actually. But we brought him down for this moment. And we have a gift for you, too. Thank you. And now I would like to invite all the congregational presidents from 2016 to 2022, if you are in this room, please come up to our chancel for a moment. We love you so much. We are so deeply grateful for your leadership. We felt the love that you have for this congregation. The ancestors felt it. The children, the future feels it. We're so deeply grateful for all you went through to just move the process along little by little until we came to this moment on this shining hill, really. Yeah. So thank you. And we have a gift for you, too, that will be presented in my office, I guess. Not right now. So thank you. But you got to stay.
I would just like to thank Taryn, Reverend Taryn. Thank you for your spiritual leadership through this journey. When it was bleak, you gave us comfort and love. When we were stuck, you challenged us to be brave and to be our very best selves. And now, in this joyous, successful time, you've made us believe that we've only just begun. Thank you.
Maureen, do you have the thing? Okay, great. So I want to invite our Project Phoenix co-leads, Carolyn, Arvin, and Deanne Peterson up here. You better just keep standing. We have a gift for you. Do you want to present it? You should have a mic or something. Okay, the Board of Trustees.
Carolyn and Deanne have been leading Project Phoenix for 5+ years, and I was honored to be part of that team for the past 2 years, and I cannot begin to tell you the diligence and commitment and love that they poured into this project. and made this home for us happen and be a reality. And I just came to love you guys so much. And we have something that the Board of Trustees wanted you to have as a memento of the building for the rest of your lives, and we hope you enjoy it. Thank you so much.
There were days, and there were plenty of nights, that I marveled at the sacrifice and generosity of all the people who have been named, who have stood up here today, who held that thread of faith. In this congregation, in this Unitarian Universalist faith, in this dance with the one that made us all, at some point they were called to pick up the thread and hold it like a lifeline so the rest of us could make it through. Even though at times that thread of faith, boy, felt like a tug of war sometimes, or moments might go slack and we would be left wondering what, if anything, was out there on the other end. I mean, there were some lonely times. Or sometimes just became almost too heavy to hold. We wondered if we had what it takes. But we never put it down. The thread became a part of us. It became the telephone line as we called each other for pep talks. It became an unspoken nod when we would lock eyes and we just knew what we had to do. It became the mundane task just right in front of our faces that needs someone to complete it. It's often Bryce. But the thread was always there. It was always there, the one that connected our faith in each other with the faith in something greater, in spirit, pulling us along, circling us back, drawing us in, ended up pulling us through a pandemic, a loneliness, a disorienting time, until finally, to hold this thread just became the easiest thing in the world. This is how faith has moved in all these leaders who gave so much of their time, their gifts, their effort. From my vantage point, they gave it freely, generously. Their faith, it was a thread, it became a lifeline, keeping us all afloat. There were many nights when it was you who got me through. And that's the story of the thread. There you are, you're all holding it now. Do you feel that? Do you feel it? It's tension, it's momentum, it's love, and it is pulling us forward. For years, I've just been in a constant state of awe at all of this. All these beautiful leaders who love their congregation, who love their faith so well. Aren't they a miracle? Some days I can hardly believe the blessing. Aren't we all just so blessed to have our purpose, to have our faith, to have each other? Aren't we blessed beyond belief? Look, we're not going to gather without an offering. So this afternoon's offering will now be given and gratefully received. blessings upon you, upon this place, upon the generosity we find here again and again, eternal blessings upon this gift today. May it go far and wide to bring justice, peace, to spread love to people who desperately need it in these desperate times. Please join me now in the dedication of the offering. To the work of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action we call community, we dedicate our lives and these our offerings.
I first heard this song 5 years ago, sung by a children's choir, and I cried. Oof, it just knocked me out. And I've been holding it since then for this day, right here, for us to do it, so you can cry. Yeah. This is a beautiful song called North by the band Sleeping at Last. We will call this place our home, the dirt in which our roots may grow. Though the storms will push and pull, we will call this place our home. We'll tell our stories on these walls, every year measure how tall, and just like a work of art, we'll tell our stories on these walls. Let the years we're here be kind, be kind. Let our hearts like doors open wide, settle our bones like wood over time. Give us bread, give us salt, give us wine. With each year our color fades, slowly our paint chips away, but we will find the strength and the nerve it takes to repaint and repaint and repaint. salt, give us one, smaller than dust on this map, lies the greatest thing we have, the dirt in which our roots may grow, and the right to call it home. This one's for you.
Be thankful now for having arrived, for the sense of having drunk from a well, for remembering the long drought that preceded your arrival, and the years walking in a desert landscape of surfaces, looking for a spring hidden from you so long that even wanting to find it now had gone from your mind until you only remembered the hard pilgrimage that brought you here, the thirst that caught in your throat, the taste of a world just missed, and the dry throat that came from a love you remembered but had never fully wanted for yourself, until finally, after years making the long trek to get here, it was as if your whole achievement had become nothing but thirst itself.
But the miracle had come simply from allowing yourself to know that you had found it, that this time someone walking out into the clear air from far inside of you had decided not to walk past it anymore. The miracle had come at the roadside, in the kneeling to drink, and the prayer you said, and the tears you shed, and the memory you held, and the realization that in this silence, you no longer had to keep your eyes and ears averted from the place that could save you. That you had been given the strength to let go of the thirsty, dust-laden pilgrim self that brought you here, walking with her bent back, her bowed head, and her careful explanations.
No, the miracle had already happened when you stood up, shook off the dust, and walked along the road from the well, out of the desert toward the mountain, as if already home again, as if you deserved what you loved all along, as if just remembering the taste of that clear, cool spring could lift up your face and set you free.
A traveler treks through the desert. They are lost, parched, and sore. This traveler comes upon a well. The traveler rejoices, but soon discovers a complication. There is no way to bring the bucket out of the well to take a drink. It is stuck somehow. The traveler, however, finds a large cup of cool, fresh water next to the well on the edge. And there is a sign with directions that you must pour the water into the well first to get the well primed somehow. And then the gears will begin, and then you can bring the bucket up and drink to your contentment. And then, according to the sign above the well, you must leave a large cup of water for the next traveler. When your throat is parched, when you ache with thirst, you must do the thing that is hardest to do. Take a cup of fresh water and pour it out. Can you imagine the trust you would have to feel? You have to trust, though you are parched and thirsty, there will be something there for you. But you've got to make the well work for the next traveler on their way. That's the only way forward. So, I hate to break it to you. I mean, you knew I was going to say this, but these last few years, I mean, what we just did, that was the easy part. I mean, you knew I was going to say that. I mean, this is very dramatic. It was renovation of a building. You know, we're taking this very far as a trek in the desert, but there were times it did feel that way. I mean, but we did just renovate a building, that's all, in a way. And yes, let's celebrate it, because it was a stunning collective feat. But now we got to renovate the culture. Now we renovate ourselves. My colleague, Reverend Jennifer Nordstrom, tells a story of when, as a young 20-something environmental activist in Washington, D.C., she found a spiritual home for the first time at a Unitarian Universalist congregation. She would go on Sundays, and she just found solace her soul yearned for in the expression of prayer. She found uplift in the sermons. Something clicked together for her like an internal puzzle, and it felt like she was coming home to herself. Maybe you have felt that too. Maybe you felt it here. For Jennifer, the service would end with an invitation to join everybody for coffee and conversation in the social hall, and each Sunday, she simply could not make it. She would thank the minister and exit just the way she came, out the front door. She would walk across the street to a coffee shop, pay for coffee, like she was used to doing in the world, and sit at the window and just watching the church across the street. Through the window pane was a welcoming congregation, a community that would love her for who she loved and for who she was. Through the glass was free coffee, but it was months before she would make her way across that street and join the others. She realized then that belonging is not a passive act, but a spiritual discipline. Belonging is a spiritual discipline. She was unsure how to practice this belonging for herself and for others, how to penetrate the social chaos of a community alive with vibrance and diversity and ask it if she too could belong. Because it is so vital to the core of one's survival, we think often of belonging as something that should naturally happen to us somehow. Yet, in our previous era of practicing belonging at UUCA, sometimes we missed the mark. Sometimes we forgot how to practice it, how to serve others, how to always turn outward and serve beyond ourselves. Too many times we were tempted to simply drink from the cup and move on. And then came our years of pandemic isolation, where we were first lonely, then painfully lonely, then adaptive, and eventually kind of comfortable in our loneliness. The act of belonging is a skill, and we have become rusty. Do you remember your first small gathering after vaccines? It was weird, right? Then, do you remember your first large gathering? Whew, much, much weirder. I think ours was perhaps Christmas of this past, 2021 Christmas. I remember that moment. Some folks left early. I remember seeing somebody literally run away from a hug. Some extroverts found themselves hanging on the outskirts of everything. Some people simply sat and wept in their mask, overwhelmed by the togetherness. Others stood and didn't know what to do or say except to repeat, "This is weird, isn't it?" The truth is, belonging is not simple. Belonging is a spiritual discipline, and like any spiritual discipline, it must be practiced regularly to be truly felt and expressed. Yes, we need each other to survive, but also we need to do things differently than what we've been taught in our wider culture out there and even our family cultures. Last week, Jason mentioned here the school cafeteria where kids struggle for belonging. But I am here to tell you, we are here to build a whole new table. Amen? An entirely new context. Our mission now is to expand the circle of belonging. What have I been saying? Within, among, beyond, yes. Within ourselves, if we are to love our neighbor, we have got to love ourselves. So here's the message for you. If you are wondering, if you are ever doubting, hear me say it now. You belong. You are welcomed. You are beloved. You are cherished. You belong here. Among ourselves. If we ever want to transgress the wider cultural understanding of belonging, if we want to make heaven here on earth, then this will require mutual accountability, mutual support, stepping up to each other, inspiring each other to try and bridge the unknowable, to do what Jason suggested, and stop guessing what someone's life must be like and start listening to what it is like. Jason said this. And beyond, this is uncharted territory for us. We have a strong historical legacy of showing up to the work that is needed, of taking risks and putting ourselves in the path of injustice. But the world has only become more complex than ever, and the world is calling to you now. Can you hear it? I said, can you hear it? Each week we come together to lift each other up and inspire one another to what Howard Thurman calls our moments of high resolve. And we have a new mission here at UUCA. We are called to transform lives through courageous action and soulful connection. But are you ready? Are you ready? I mean, I think you are, but are you? Because I can't hear it. To enter this place, beloved and cherished, just as you are. To see the cup of water that has been placed for you. But then you are invited to be transformed into someone more courageous, someone more curious, someone less judgmental, to pour the water out and trust. Have faith that deeper wells of belonging await you if you do so. And I just can't help but wonder who is out there somewhere looking at us through the window pane, wondering if there's a way to belong. Who's in here right now wondering the same thing? So I think before we leap into this next era of ministry, understanding belonging as a spiritual practice at the core of our ministry and our mission, we must ask ourselves that question. To whom do we belong? We belong to each other. Oh my gosh. We belong to the future. We belong to our children. We belong to our ancestors, those who came before. We belong to people who don't even know about us yet. We belong to Atlanta. We belong to the imprisoned. We belong to the immigrants. We belong to the homeless encampments underneath the overpass. We belong to all the places untouched by the comforts we enjoy in this very moment. Anyone else? If you're feeling it, say it. To whom do we belong? Each other. We belong to the earth. Seventh generation. We belong to Ukraine. We belong to trans kids. We belong to people in migration. By the time we have finally gotten around to celebrating the manifestation of our dreams, this campus, this center of spirituality, art, and activism that we call our faith home, the truth is the miracle had already happened when you stood up, shook off the dust, and walked along the road from that well, out of the desert toward the mountain. As if already home again. As if you deserved what you loved all along. So let us practice belonging. Let us become Zen masters of belonging. The belonging is the blessing. We have to pour out the water first. You got to risk some discomfort, some unfamiliarity in order to transform into the place where everyone belongs. So let us activate our sacred practice of belonging. Count yourself in, and then leave a fresh glass for those who are still out there on the pilgrimage, so they may find what they need. Until just remembering the taste of that clear, cool spring could lift us all up, all of us, and everyone who crosses our path. That they feel a belonging so true, so restorative, it is enough to set us all free.
Our final hymn this morning is Life Calls Us On. Please rise, in body or in spirit. Oh yeah, I need my music. One, two, three.
Now we gather
a muscle we can use, we can improve upon always. So let us count ourselves in. Come in, pour out enough for all of us. And in doing so, be replenished, welcoming always the next person into this journey of belonging. May you go in blessing, be blessed, and may you bless others on your way.
2, 3, 1, 2. Loyal guides in love and duty, lead us with a trusted light. Blessed are those whose inward beauty show the path of truth and right. Honor is their earthly prize. By their work we realize faith calls us home. Faith calls us home. We have shared a radiant hour. We have where the truth has made us free. And the Spirit's gracious power dreamed of good that yet shall be. Right the path before us lies. Joyful pilgrims, now we rise. Life calls us on. Life calls us on. Life calls us on. Life calls us Life calls us Life calls us Life calls Big thanks to the band, huh? Thank you. It's a blast. Thanks, Nick. It's a pleasure. We'll see you again. Yeah. Let me turn the microphone off.